I think said you were raised Catholic, but tell us how you got serious and you got into the rosary, going to the Latin Mass, all that.
Okay, so I was named after a badass saint, Saint Sebastian,
Yep.
the saint of athletes as well. So that was perfect. The only saint who got martyred twice, so that's pretty cool. I did my confirmation, and I think around when I was 12 till 13, 14, my parents decided not to go to church anymore. We only were going on the holidays, and my dad said, if we only do that, that's a charade, we might as well stop. Don't know the real reason, but we stopped. I never asked anything about
And
it because I was an ADHD child. So church for me was not a fun thing. I was always moving and always in trouble. But anyway, there was one thing that stands out from that time, and I don't know why. Now I understand why it is. It was God literally planting a seed. I believe so, because why would I know this? I was 10 years old, and I was sitting in the classroom, and I was staring at this tree, and the teacher tried to get a hold of me. And I knew they were trying to get a hold of me because I heard them laugh, and the teacher was talking, but I was just zoned into the tree. And literally, I mean, I can sit there now, and I know exactly what tree, where I was sitting. I know everything. It was really weird. And suddenly he screamed at me. I go, what? He goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm checking out that tree there. He goes, what's wrong with the tree? I go, how did it get there? And he goes, yeah, they planted it there, idiot. I go, yeah, dude, I understand that. But if you go to the tree before, the tree before, the tree before, you go all the way back, where do they come from? And he just, of course, thought that I was an idiot. But that was always in my head. So many years later, first of all, it started in my old house, which had a spirit. We had a spirit in the house. And that particular spirit didn't really like me. We found out it was the woman. And if I think back, it was a woman who passed away, the prior owner. My kids could describe what she looked like. I mean, I seen her walk. I mean, it was very physical, the attack. It was like I could try to slip my legs out, but somehow she was sitting on my chest. So that was the only thing that I couldn't move. But the weight would be so much that I couldn't expand my chest, so I couldn't breathe. It would freak me out. And I would ball up a lot of energy, and suddenly I would scream profanity at the time. And then my wife, the whole house would wake up, and she goes, again? I go, yeah, again, this is crazy. And I would challenge it. I said, come now. Don't wait till I'm in a deep sleep, and then sucker punch me going backstage. I would love you to come now, to do it now. I'm going to fall asleep. Do it within an hour, right? I dare you. I was constantly trying to challenge it.
so this is a female apparition, a ghost, spirit, something. Yeah.
Yes. And she got physically with
and
me.
Is this before or after your career? Or during?
This is after my career. This is actually, in 2006, I actually made a comeback fight after 7 years of not competing.
Yep.
So this was around the time from 2004 to 2006.
Okay.
I went to the restroom one time. I'm sitting always down so I don't have to turn the light on when I pee. And I see my wife walking to the kitchen. I guess she's probably get water. So I go back to bed, and she's in bed. So I'm grabbing the gun. I go through the house, and nobody's in the house. Then a big one came. I was coming home around 9:30 at night with my family. And I open the door, and I feel somebody's in the house. And I tell my wife, somebody's in the house. I dial 911. I say, hold the phone. If you hear something, just hit send. I said, don't worry about it. I know everything of what the weapons are, what everything is. So don't worry about it. So I walked into this room, was separated by a wall. There was an open kitchen on this side, and there was a dining room on the other side. And in the back, there would be the kitchen. Now, I thought that person was in this side. So I started walking here, making a lot of noise. Hopefully, this guy would do the opposite, of course. And then I make a U-turn, and I come and get him. So I'm coming around the corner, sprinted. And we had, to the kitchen, there was this big, thick curtain that we had instead of a door. And it was hanging in the doorpost. And while I'm coming around the corner, I see the curtain flying up. So I'm freaking running because somebody just ran through it. And there was nobody in the house. And that was like, okay, yes. All my friends go, yeah, were the windows open? Yeah, there was a category 4 hurricane going on. I said, are you idiot? Of course, I'm Dutch. We always close our doors. Trust me on that one. But to see that moving not moving, flying up, somebody ran through it. Wow. So that was a hard one. Then I decided to challenge the ghost. And that was at that spot because it was always cold at that spot where the curtain moved. And there was a weird smell at times. And I just, at 3 a.m., I don't know why I decided 3 a.m., not knowing that Jesus passed away at 3 p.m. And that's where the demonic activity is at its best, to do it at 3 a.m. But I did. And I started just challenging it for 45 minutes. I say, come on, I want you to fight me. Bring it down to my level, if I can't hit anything, then it's not going to work. But, if you want to fight, please come, let's do this thing. And I just kept doing it. And somehow it didn't happen anymore. But then after the last fight, I made a bunch of money. So I moved to another house where we had a pool, because I always wanted a pool. After the first night, my daughter was sleeping upstairs, my oldest one here. And I asked, how was your first night, girls? And my daughter goes, it was nice, but I had a visit from 2 boys. And I go, you mean spirits then, right? And she goes, yeah. I go, you're not freaking out? She goes, no, they're very nice, Dad. I go, whoa, how old? I don't know, 16, 17. I go, honey, this is crazy. So everything was good. She says, yeah, one kept playing on the bed the whole time. And then I asked them to please let me go to sleep. And they stopped. And they were gone. So I'm looking at my wife. I go down. I go on the computer. I type in if something ever happened at my house. And in 2001, on Christmas, poor parents, 4 kids, 3 boys and 1 girl, they were speeding on a road next to us. They flew out of control. They flew through our wall. And looking outside, I see where the wall is repaired. 2 boys died, 16 and 17 years old. So now suddenly I go like, okay. Now I always was this guy that I know this is not it. I mean, it's way too complicated, this life to be. But God and Jesus, maybe it was responsibilities. I didn't want anything. I was far away from that. We go like 8 years further. In 2014, we're actually filming Mall Cop, and a speaker comes to, in the break, a speaker's coming, Leo Severino, you know him as well. And my buddy goes, hey, you want to sit in on this talk? Now, if he would have said, we're going to talk about Jesus and my God, I would have said, I'm up in my room, I'll see you guys in an hour, but he didn't. He said he's going to talk about how the world came together. It's cool. I'm gonna smoke a cigar, right? Yeah. We're sitting outside, cabana, AC, at the Wynn Hotel. I mean, smoking a cigar, and there's Leo. And the first thing Leo says is, the leaf fell from the tree. That's literally his first line. He says, that leaf just reached its end destination. Let's go backtrack that leaf. And he goes back to the branch, and then he goes to the tree before, and he goes to the tree before, and he goes to the tree before. You see, and I started thinking, I go, why do I know this story from? I know this from somewhere, and then I realized, oh crap, that was when I was 10 years old, right. Because I was literally saying the same. And the way Leo started backtracking and hitting everything, I mean, I get goosebumps now. You eventually coming to this very solid proof of the very existence of God, of a designer, well, that was it. And then, of course, the designer, well, that's God. Now we have God. So now I was full on in. I came home, told my wife about it. She started laughing because with my ADHD, she thinks it's another 6 weeks episode and then it's gone again, But it started growing. And I started doing more, and I started going mass, and I started doing a daily rosary, and everything started coming. And she saw the changes in me. The drinking stopped, and the drugs. That was far away from it. And all the stuff that I did wrong started getting out of my life. So then I asked her to marry me for the 3rd time. We actually got married 3 times in total. We're 30 years together already. So the next day after I asked her,
You mean Mary in the church? Mary in the church. This 3rd time.
In the church, it's the Catholic Church. Yeah. And she said, cool. And the next day I couldn't get a hold of her. And finally she called me back and said, where were you? She says, I was at church. I was actually doing mass. I go, mass? Yeah. And I signed up for RCIA classes because I was baptized, but I didn't do my confirmation. So, I mean, in one day, she already decided it, bada bing, bada boom. Here we are. And now I'm talking to you. Wow. That's, in a nutshell, the story that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about those spirits? Because I know, like Thomas Aquinas says, especially when people die, they can go to purgatory proper, or sometimes God allows them to have certain geographic locations. I mean, Thomas Aquinas says this happens. I think St. Gregory the Great also talks about it. Do you think these were souls in purgatory, or were they demons? Have you talked to Father Ripperger about it? Like, what do you think was going on there with these spirits or ghosts?
It has to be, like, I believe that the woman, at least, I know that her son, because we see him in church also, is a Catholic guy. So you would, maybe she was in purgatory, but I think the reason was this, I think, Taylor, I was drinking very heavy at the time. And I'm always a happy drunk. I'm dancing with the kids, but still, you're doing this, you're still not a father, you're not a man, not a husband, right? So I needed to change that. And I think it was her slapping me around saying, hey, look at your family, dude. You have this beautiful family. Wow. And that's, I believe, is the reason that she did. I don't know why, but that feeling I have now, looking back on it.
Yeah.